The Philippines just experienced its most dangerous lava collapse event of the current eruption. The footage is striking. Mayon, the most perfectly symmetrical volcano on Earth, has now been erupting for 117 consecutive days without pause. At 5:38 yesterday afternoon, a wall of superheated gas and rock ran 4 kilometers down its southwestern slope. The official danger zone is being violated by farmers re-entering to feed their animals. Thousands of people are sleeping in evacuation centers across 4 municipalities. 284 rockfalls broke loose from the summit in the last 24 hours alone. 14 pyroclastic density current signals were recorded in the same window. Ashfall has now affected 52 barangays. This is the volcano that buried the town of Cagsawa in 1814 and killed more than 1,000 people. It is no longer bluffing. But here is the detail that tells the real story. The footage of May 2nd collapse was not captured by a tourist with a phone. It was captured by a high-resolution monitoring camera operated by PHIVOLCS, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology. They have been watching this mountain 24 hours a day for over 117 consecutive days. They have alerts, they have models, they have sensors that can hear a rock the size of a fist break loose from 1.5 kilometers away. And they still held the alert level at 3 of 5. They were not telling people to fully evacuate. They were telling people one thing: get out of the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone. And the people inside that zone, the farmers, the grandmothers, the families with 1 cow and 3 pigs, looked at the smoking mountain and said, "We have to feed the animals." So they stayed. On May 2nd at 5:38 p.m., the wall of fire came down a different gully than the one they were watching. The mountain has been threatening from the east for 116 days. On day 117, it broke from the south. This is how it happened. The mountain woke up on January 6, 2026. DOST-PHIVOLCS raised the alert from level 2 to level 3. Within 24 hours, the governor of Albay province ordered roughly 3,000 residents to evacuate the 6 kilometers permanent danger zone surrounding the summit. By mid-January, lava was flowing down the Bonga Gully on the southeastern side. By February, the eruption had not stopped. By March, satellite thermal sensors showed Mayon glowing red on every overpass, every single day. The mountain was doing something it had not done in living memory. It was not exploding. It was bleeding continuously for weeks, then months. The lava in the Basud Gully on the east face stretched to 3.8 kilometers from the crater. The lava in the Bonga Gully on the southeast hit 3.2 kilometers. The lava in the Mi-isi Gully on the south hit 1.6 kilometers. 3 rivers of molten rock, all alive, all advancing at the same time. Then, late on May 2nd, the volcano did something different. Antonia Bornas, head of the Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division at DOST-PHIVOLCS, explained what happened in a Sunday interview. Her exact words: "The newest lava flow in Mi-isi Gully, being fed by lava effusion at the crater, instead of growing, advancing, or lengthening, started collapsing. So the new lava being fed to the young lava flow led to collapse or disgorgement of lava at the collapsed flow front and generation of successive pyroclastic density currents." Disgorgement. Here is what made it so much worse. The lava that has been pouring out of Mayon for 4 months is not the runny, fast-flowing kind from Hawaii. It is what volcanologists call hypersthene andesite, thick, sticky, full of trapped gas. It does not flow. It builds, layer on layer. As it cools and stacks on the steep summit slopes, it becomes structurally unstable. And then it falls. That is what the world saw on May 2nd. Not an explosion, a collapse. A piece of the mountain peeled off, broke into superheated debris, and ran. Inside that debris cloud, the temperature is roughly 700 degrees Celsius, over 1,300 Fahrenheit. Hot enough to vaporize human skin on contact. Hot enough to weld people into the position they were standing in. This is exactly the mechanism that killed everyone at Pompeii 79 AD when Vesuvius collapsed. It is exactly the mechanism that killed 77 farmers at Mayon in February 1993. They were tending crops inside the 6-kilometer zone when the Bonga Gully sent a pyroclastic flow 6 kilometers down their fields. By the time they saw it, it was already on top of them. To understand what is actually happening underneath the surface, look at where the magma is loading. Mayon sits directly above the Philippine Trench, one of the deepest subduction zones on Earth. The Pacific Plate is sliding underneath the Philippine Plate at roughly 8 centimeters per year. 8 centimeters of seafloor every year, scraping into the mantle, melting, rising. That melt has been feeding the magma chamber under Mayon for hundreds of thousands of years. In 2025, satellite ground deformation data started showing something the analysts did not expect. The summit was inflating. The chamber was filling faster than the lava was bleeding off. That means the eruption you are seeing on the surface, the one that has been running for 117 days, is not the main event. It is the safety valve. The question is whether the valve is large enough to handle what is underneath it. Here is what is not making most headlines. There is a town in Albay called Cagsawa. It does not exist anymore. On February 1st, 1814, Mayon produced a magnitude 4 eruption on the volcanic explosivity index. An ash column climbed 50 kilometers into the sky. Then the column collapsed. A pyroclastic flow rolled down the southern flank and hit the town of Cagsawa at full speed. Hundreds of villagers ran into the stone Catholic church believing the walls would protect them. They were entombed inside. The entire town was buried under 9 meters of ash. The roof of the church collapsed under the weight. The bell tower, the highest point in the village, was the only structure tall enough to keep its top above the ash line. That bell tower is still there today, 212 years later, sticking out of the ground. Tourists drive out to Cagsawa Ruins Park to take photos in front of it with Mayon smoking in the background. They call it the Pompeii of the Philippines. The death toll from that eruption is estimated at 1,200. Most of the bodies were never recovered. They are still down there, beneath the soil, beneath the volcanic ash, beneath the picnic tables of a tourist park. The same volcano that did that, in the same direction it did it, is the one that just collapsed on May 2nd, and it is still not over. PHIVOLCS has not lowered the alert level. They have not announced an end to the eruption. They have not even announced a slowdown. As of the day this script is being written, the lava is still advancing. The rockfalls are still being recorded. The volcanic edifice is still showing slight northeast swelling on the upslope side. The question now is not whether Mayon will erupt again. It is already erupting. It has been erupting without stopping for 117 days. The question is not whether the next pyroclastic flow will come down. There have been multiple of them this year. The Mi-isi Gully sequence on Saturday produced 14 PDC signals in a single 24-hour window. The question is whether the people who live downwind, downhill, and downstream of this volcano, the residents of Legazpi, Tabaco, Daraga, and Camaleg, are paying attention to the same camera footage the world just watched. The bell tower of Cagsawa Church still stands in the dirt 2 centuries later as a warning. The only thing that has changed since 1814 is the number of people who would die if it happened again. If this story is worth telling, subscribe. We cover more of these every week.